and I expect to see another good one between these two racers, and we are going to get started right now.
Nice Majora's Mask reference there. And I actually have not seen that first game, so as far as I'm aware, these guys are 0-0. Good choice of sprites here, too. We have Dark Link on Hitsuyan's end, and we have a Dragonite on Dracarys' end.
Yeah, I believe the original plan was to do best of 3 series for this round of the playoffs, but we switched to best of 5 so that each runner would get at least one race as part of this. So these first 3 matches, we'll see how they shake out.
Yep, let's see what they get as their starting weapon. It could be a sword. It's the Cane of Burna.
That's an interesting start. Definitely one where you have to be careful with your magic usage as you go.
You also have to keep in mind that that's invincibility of the seed is expected for them, so anything like Laser Bridge they don't have to worry about, but that probably means they should have checked those checks sooner rather than later. Because the cane itself being invincibility could also be progression to something like Spike Cape having something required.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind too about this Cane of Burna start is that if the runners run themselves out of magic, you can take a death and it will respawn you with full magic, just as a soft lock prevention, but it is unlikely our runners will have to do that today.
Actually, if I recall right, it's proportionate to where they are in the escape sequence. So they'll only spawn like quarter magic when it comes down to if they die like in the sewers. But yeah, magic important. Magic management is going to be key here. And if they had a bomb start, if they had an arrow start, they would also have ammunition for those as well. When they reset. So it's a soft lock prevention across all fronts.
Yeah, and so far the seed not giving us anything else interesting, just a couple of heart pieces so far, so still waiting to see what else we're going to have to work with.
Alright, we got some bombs to start with, so don't have to worry about the backup escape, which has another 3 checks.
Yeah, always annoying to have to come back to that later or farm a bunch of enemies for a bomb drop, especially, as we said, when you're trying to watch your magic usage, so nice to get that drop out of a chest.
Indeed. And both runners are opting for pot strats. Now, this is just something I like doing, is I actually spawn the guard first, so that when I'm going to get the pots, he walks towards the middle cell. The left cell, and when I kill him with the second pot, he usually dies in front of the Zelda store. So I can just pick up the key and immediately walk in. I don't have to take a few extra steps backing out. I'm not sure if it's faster or not, but it's an optimization I like doing.
Yeah, if it works, you can't complain too much about it. Our runner's already gaining a full heart out of all of those heart pieces everywhere. So, what troll item are you hoping for today, Wolflink?
Well, let's be real. It's all dungeons. The Icer is going to be important at some point. And it can be anywhere except for on Trinex and GT. Well, actually, I say that, but that's if GT's not a pendant.
That's true. There always is the potential in all dungeons for important progression being locked inside Ganon's Tower, so that's always fun. I'm always hoping for the rare Ganon's Tower big chest opening, which pretty much only happens in all dungeons.
Well, sometimes he's handy. Depends on how thorough you're trying to be.
So getting that vanilla key there in Dark Cross to get us through this last door.
Yep.
Our runners were, I think, saving magic on that big guard to get our good friend the Key Rat here. Oh, and
Oh no! That little
that
troll.
pesky Key Rat, man. The troll begins immediately.
The Key Rat actually dodged Kate Bruno. I didn't think that was even possible. Small shield, 3 bombs, and the map.
Yeah, that rat definitely been practicing his bullet hell mechanics.
It would be kind of funny if there was actually a Versa Sprite being used here, because that would actually make a lot more sense with that reference. Oh well.
Yeah, what can you do? So our runner's getting out of the escape sequence in just over 6 minutes, right on the time you would expect, but without much to speak of in the way of items, other than that one guaranteed weapon. So overall, a fairly slow start.
Yeah. You do get a few amount of bombs, which they can use to go to Kakariko. Alright, map check. Crystals at Hera and Eastern. Red Pendant at Desert. So Desert is the one they can put off until a little bit later. They'll still have to do it, of course, but it's not too important right now.
Yeah, in all dungeons, you'll have to do everything, so we're mostly looking for where those 5-6 crystals, maybe where's that green pendants, as those open up new checks for us, but Drac checking the tree pole there, just finding some hearts.
Heart container at the mushroom spot. We need Oh, was that the flippers I just saw?
That was the flippers.
Okay, well, Aga was required regardless, but that tells us that the Aga has to be done sooner rather than later. And that, at the end game, is actually somewhat of a big deal.
Yeah,
at least in my opinion.
Yeah, runners would much prefer to route in Aga 1 right before the Ganon fight, since it'll spit you out right on top of that tower. But,
with a full refill, I might add.
Yeah, exactly. So Dracarys knows that's not going to be an option today. So we'll see if that knowledge that he has that Hitsuyan does not will help him out in his routing.
Actually, I think it was Hitsuyan that checked, not Dracarys. So it's the reverse.
Oh yes, had it backwards.
Poultry is just some magic. Refills that Cane of Burna for the time being. Or was it? I don't remember which one of them checked anymore.
Yeah, I think it was Dracarys, since he's a little behind here because of that added knowledge. Hitsuyan finding gloves and the cape in Blind's hut.
I thought one of them went straight to Lumberjack. And the other one went straight to the forest.
Yeah, I think Drac went straight to Lumberjack, which is pretty much the time difference that we have here. Oh, and the lamp as well in Blind's hut. So, yeah, that Aga 1 care package is has been delivered. Other than that that pesky sword thing.
Yeah, which they'll probably get in the next few chests. Hey, some more money. And a blue potion to check the sick kid. That's always nice. I know money's not in logic, but I'm like to think that they're getting all this money because Sora has our first intended sword.
Let's hope so.
Oh, there's the red cane. Martel Merton selling that. He just thought it was a stick on the ground and was just telling it for expensive. Like, say, oh, it's a magical artifact. Little does he know, it actually was.
I like
the chicken house.
Yeah, I like to think about him saying, here, take this red stick, kid. Yeah, apparently this seed wants us to work up from the bottom of the inventory list, starting with the bottle, canes, and the cape. Sick kid just giving us 20 bucks.
Yeah, all we need is the mirror to make it a complete bottom row first. not gonna lie, that actually, going from the bottom up in the item menu just put an idea in my head.
Uh-oh, that makes me nervous.
Don't worry, I'm not usually in trouble when it comes to those kind of things. But anyway, 20 rubies on library.
I mean, like, a complete row of items or complete column of items can come up as a bingo goal, so...
So there's money at race game. Alright, Hitsuyan doing the same quit. Looks like to be heading toward Eastern Palace, maybe to the bomb shop here. Yeah. Gonna jump down and see what the Lake Hylia Island is most likely. And it's the Quake Medallion.
Alright, that's good to know where that is.
Indeed. It may not be required, but... I mean, I would pick it up going into Ice Palace. It could insta-kill those annoying Pengators. At the cost of some of your magic. Which...
And the dead rocks.
Dead rocks are dead rocks. I don't think it's or turning them into slimes. Pengators, on the other hand, they just get straight up insta-killed by it. As long as they're not, you know, in midair.
So, some interesting... Yeah, divergence. I was going to say Hitsuyan is going to head over to the Eastern Palace area, see what Sahasrahla has stashed in the closet, and Dracarys is heading straight up Death Mountain with that lamp.
Looks like just minor items there in the back of Sahasrahla, and Hitsuyan not even checking where the green pendant is. We know it's Dark World, so all he's doing really is just saving him a little bit of information later. So... And old man just has arrows.
Old man was out vampire hunting today, I guess. As the cabbages are not kind to Dracarys, but he switches to some cane strats to hold off the pain.
Just barely survives. And hey, speaking of vampires here, there's a single arrow on top of Spectacle Rock. And Drac is heading into Spectacle Rock, and that's where one of the Version 30 hints are. So let's see what it reads, if he even checks it.
Well, the item's not too exciting.
A little bit of chump change.
Wow.
That's actually terrifying. You got him requires the mushroom, so the witch has something.
The fetch quest is on.
Drac now has information about Quake.
Yeah, and looks like he's going to head over and make these same checks over in Eastern. Interesting that we're not hitting South Shore just yet.
Just the map for Eastern, but here we go with another bit of information regarding this seed. And we need the lamp for Hera. And yeah, someone putting out in chat, not really too much importance knowing that Hera's Firelock, considering we already have the lamp. But it's good to know that, hey, you're going to have a coffee break coming up, I guess. And these runners are basically using their knowledge, fighting each other across the several weeks here. Alright, so there is an item in this big chest, and there is an item on our most nights. But the item is only arrows.
So
So
plenty of
it's South
arrows.
Shore.
Yeah, Seed giving us plenty of arrows and 0 swords so far.
Yeah,
The
so
wrong pointy object, I'm afraid.
there's progression either on Agina, there's progression at Mini Moldorm, there's progression at the dam, or there's progression at Icewear Cave. But
Hitsu.
there's also one other check.
Oh. Hitsu, yeah, setting up the Houlihan glitch here, is picking up some more cash with an eye toward that King Zora play.
And King Zora is in Logic.
Yeah, that's
You might
definitely.
think, oh, you can't get a King Zora, you don't have the flippers. In vanilla, you get the flippers right on. So the logic requires you to have a glove.
Yeah, that's definitely another thing that early glove can point to. And this is nice routing from Hitsuyan. Is he going to set up... I thought he might have been thinking about a fake flipper to head up in that direction right now. But nope, he's just going to make the standard South Shore checks before doing that Zora play. But that Houlihan is pretty free and spits you out right there at Link's house toward the area where he wanted to go anyway.
Yeah, he'll probably do the fake flipper here at the lake. I don't know if he'll go all the way to Icewear Cave first, though. But this is the more common place to do it.
Yeah, that's definitely the standard play, because then you can check out Hobo at the same time. He's certainly hoping to find that Moon Pearl first, so he can maybe check Waterfall Cave on the way up as well.
Well, the dam does not have anything of importance. Only 5 rupees when you drain it.
So yeah, looking like bomb strats probably for Mini Moldorm Cave, and I guess that's why our runners were putting this off, hoping to find a better weapon to deal with these guys.
I mean, they technically do have a better weapon than former Kane and Samaria, but good luck trying to hit him with a block. There you go, that did it. Alright, so what's inside Mini Moldorm Cave? 20, 20. Refund. The hook shot!
Alright, alright. That's definitely gonna...
Paradox is open.
Yeah, that's definitely going to play well for Hitsuyan, who has not been up to Death Mountain yet, that he'll be able to be a lot more efficient in his first trip up there. So we'll see if he goes through with the fake flippers right now. I feel like Death Mountain is the better play since all of those fake flipper checks are not in logic just yet, and those 8 chests that just got opened up on Death Mountain are probably a lot more tempting right now.
I mean, the only thing that you would use fake flipper for at this point is to go see Zora, but you don't even have money for that. So yeah, unless there's like 100 rupees here, I would save and quit and go. Yeah, not nearly enough. Gonna save and quit, go up the mountain first. This is smart of him. Because realistically, fake flipper at this point only gets you 2 checks and information on a 3rd. Lets you get the hobo item, lets you get Zora's item, and lets you check with Zora Legends. You can't get the waterfall items without the Moon Pearl, and if we have Moon Pearl, we more or less have... Well, we don't exactly have Darkhold access just yet. We still need the hammer or a sword. And given what we've been given, a sword is most likely that our Darkhold access.
Yeah, especially given that this is all dungeons, there's not really a penalty for doing Aga even if the seed doesn't expect you to do it right away. So you would expect to see that Aga 1 play pretty quickly, especially since I think Hitsuyan is trying to stay within logic and is trying to avoid sequence breaking somewhat.
Well, now both runners know about the flippers. We were a little confused before, but that just sealed it up right there. Hitsu rather would not check that if he didn't already know.
Yeah, so we're getting an out-of-the-way check of Agina's cave over here. This is another good last location spot, but just a heart piece today.
Alright, let's see what Paradox has for us. Just has to dodge the giant boulders of something.
Drac is definitely following in Hitsuyan's footsteps, thinking along those same lines. He farmed some cash from the desert cave on his way to Agina, and is now also doing that Houlihan glitch.
Yeah, and he's gonna have enough for Zora, so he's committing to the play.
Yeah, I wonder if this hookshot in Mini Moldorm Cave will change his mind at all. He's going to pick up some bombs on the way there. Again, without any magic, that's pretty much his only option for getting through the Mini Moldorms.
And now Hitsuyan also knows the mushroom may lead to something important. What if the mushroom was in Paradox Cave, and the unique item... Actually, the unique item could be the hammer. That would be hilarious, because then they're like, they have all this stuff for Aga, but Aga's not required.
Right? As usual, chat's hoping for the fetch quest chain, so, you know, mushroom to shovel to powder or something like that. That mushroom would also put fake powder in play right away, although we can't get to Magic Bat at the moment, but another consideration for our runners once they find it.
Aga is in fact required for Swamp, as someone is pointing out in chat. It's also technically required for Ice Palace. We need to do all the dungeons anyway. So in this instance, Aga's required sooner rather than later. And hey, there's a blue boomerang for Hitsu.
Yeah, theoretically we could put off those water dungeons for a while, but I don't think our runners will do that since the flippers do make things a bit easier in several places around the world.
You know, now that I think about it, as we get the red boomerang here as well, knowing that the flippers are technically boots locked, and well, Paradise and nothing. Knowing that the flippers are boots locked is actually a good peace of mind in the long run if you think about it. Because the two boots you really want, dungeons you really want boots for is Ice Palace and Swamp Palace, because the water and the ice respectively slow you down.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and that's a good piece of the logic, is the flippers are not just Aga locked, also boots locked. So that'll be something our runners can sort of keep in mind and hopefully try and narrow down where the boots are, because everybody loves going fast. Meanwhile, Paradox Cave's sort of a bust other than those two boomerangs, so Hitsuyan is definitely hoping to find something here in Spiral Cave, since that is the last check available on Death Mountain.
I really hope it's not the hammer at this point, because then Hitsuyan has to climb back up the east side just to go to Hera. This would just be a rude placement, really.
I mean, isn't that exactly what you expect from a... Oh my goodness.
I jinxed it.
That is the commentator's curse, my friends.
You would have not commentated, I seem to invoke that curse as well. So it might just be me luck as well.
Alright, so at least, I mean, climbing up Paradox Cave isn't as bad as Super Bunny, so it could be worse. And now we are just that pesky Moon Pearl away from our Dark World access.
Yeah, Moon Pearl or a sword. And the Moon Pearl being on Pyramid.
Yeah, that is always a possibility. Drac is checking Zora, which is definitely narrowing down where we're going to get this Dark World access from, and Zora has a rupee. A single rupee.
The ultimate ripoff. Let's see what Tower Hera has for us. There's a small key that we need.
Yeah, we did know basement's going to be required, so there it is.
Alright, 2 hints here in Hera as well, so not a bad dungeon for information gathering. Although, when you get something like that, this doesn't really help.
Side note, though, I will point out the seed could have been ruder. Can you imagine if he had gotten a magic mirror and then had to hookshot back to the west and then get up to Tower of Hera that way, I'd rather have the hammer, to be fair.
Yeah, that would be arguably worse. I will admit. So actually, I missed what the little 4 was there.
Oh, the chest. The chest on the first floor? I did not see that one either, actually.
Probably just Dungeon Island then. Okay, it was the map.
Probably we both saw it and then just immediately forgot about it because it was useless.
Actually, I was looking away, typing up the notes, because I actually do keep track of the hints we have found. Or in this case, the choke hint we found.
Of course. I always find I do this when I'm tracking. Somebody gets a shield or something and I just ignore it because shields are garbage. And then I look up and someone has a mirror shield and I haven't tracked any of it. At any rate, I suspect we will see Drac following Hitsuyan's footsteps here, and also wind up in Tower of Hera. That's the logical play, and in fact, the only spot we have left to give us some sort of access into the Dark World.
Alright, second... There's our Moon Pearl! And another joke hint. Wow, yesterday I got... I didn't see a single joke hint. Today I'm seeing all of them.
So, the French Vanilla Moon Pearl.
So, I think that's the two... If I understand the hint system right, there's 2 joke hints, so we found them both. Because those were 2 different joke hints. And yeah, with that, we have Dark World access, I should mention.
Yeah, of course we will go ahead and finish off our first crystal here. But I suspect we will see Village of Outcasts very soon, or maybe Hype Cave, one of those two, depending on which way Hitsuyan decides to enter into the Dark World the first time. Easy Troll Dorm fight with that hammer, nicely done by Hitsu there.
Indeed. So, there is a fair amount of information they can get in the Dark World. And... Haha! Hitsu actually playing it smart. He's already up here, might as well check Spike Cave. And as a reminder, folks, we started with an Uncle Kana Burna. The logic expected this check to be done sooner rather than later.
Hookshot definitely helping with the navigation through there, and we're rewarded with B-Torp.
Well, it was logically sound. I'll say that much. It didn't pay out, but it was logically sound.
You know, you gotta check it while you're there, so...
Exactly.
Alright, so it looks like we are going to see Hype Cave right away as Hitsuyan heading into the Dark World at this south portal. And Dracarys, of course, just a little bit behind because of that trip to Zora. Meanwhile, we see red crystals at Skull Woods and Thieves Town, and the green pendant down in Swamp Palace, the last pendant in Misery Mire.
Yeah. And while you were saying that, Drac took a death. Oh no, that was the Death War, wasn't it?
Yes, just getting out of the basement.
Alright. Starting off Hype Cave, 20 rupees. 10 arrows, heart piece, 20 rupees, 0.
Yep.
I'm giving that a straight up 0.
Zeros across the board.
If it had like one thing that could be considered unique, even though it wasn't required, I'd give it maybe a 2. But no, that's a 0.
Maybe even a full heart earns you a 1 out of 10, but...
Yeah. But that was... For lack of a better term, that was just utter garbage. Somebody knows where he's at. He at least gives you a heart. And Hitsu can't do much over here, so this is going to be the dig game. Maximum 30 digs. We'll see what pays out here.
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to starting along the south side. I've seen a couple races, though, where runners then find mitts on the dig game and then can just head right up into Village of Outcasts, and it's the absolute galaxy brain play. But nothing at this point, so he will have to save and quit and head back through the Kakariko portal to make those Village of Outcasts checked.
Yeah, meanwhile, Drac is finishing up Hera. And I counted, that was 16 digs, so not bad, but nothing you really care for as a reward. I consider it a bad dig game if you have to do 20 plus digs. That one is right down, pretty much right down the middle, so. Could have been better, could have been worse.
Yep, and Dracarys making this same check for Spike Cave will be equally disappointed with the outcome, but again, it's always good to get that one checked off your list.
Yep, and Hitsuyan's going to be heading over to the Village of Outcasts. Few items over here, along with these down, which we can technically full clear.
Yeah, Hammer Blind with the number of hearts they have is not too bad. And we do know that's a 5/6 crystal, so never hurts to get that one out of the way early.
I mean, we even have the Cane of Burna to really deal damage to Blind. But it looks like Hitsuyan is going to start by checking Skullwoods first. Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's, at this point, thinking more about finding items, in particular a sword, before really worrying about clearing dungeons, which definitely a reasonable choice.
And Drax's about to realize how pitiful this hype cave is. Well, he got a heart container out of it, so he probably thinks like a 1 out of 10, but still. He had more heart pieces than Hitsuyan did.
And Hitsuyan working back to front here in Skull Woods. Just a small key in that first chest. Drac gonna check out the hint that you can get to without flippers.
Free hint. Might as well take it. Well, that's kind of useless information now, isn't it?
Could be useless, definitely. Yeah, that could be about flippers. But that... I mean, that will sometimes have runners put a little more priority on checking things like Bonk Rocks or King's Tomb as soon as they get the boots, but yeah, not a super exciting hint.
Yeah, that hint would be great if we did not already have a unique item that we could see that was boots locked.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that would have been, oh, hey, it's at Bumper Cave then, no, it's at Bonk Rocks or something. No, that's probably leading us to the flippers.
And a big 20 there in the big chest of Skull Woods. Another fetch quest out of the way. Yeah, Hitsuyan is transitioning this nicely into a Bumper Cave check. which we could get right now, again, since we got that cape so early, but just some blueberries.
Yeah, nothing too major just yet. So it looks like Thieves Town and the Village of Outcast area is the play to make. We still have the Gina check that we haven't done yet either, though. And with Spakers, we could check the Waterfall Ferry as well.
Yeah, actually, Dracarys did a Gina early on, and it was nothing, so...
Oh, he actually went that way?
Yes, when he checked the desert cave with some cash in it, and then did a Gina along the way, before he went up to Zora.
Okay, so makes sense. He was farming money in that area. Grabbed some before he left. Check that out on his way. Oh boy!
There we go.
Village of Outcast paying out Titan's bits in the Chester chess minigame.
Still no sword, but man, we can lift some big rocks.
And that puts actually puts Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave in logic.
Yeah, those are definitely available.
Don't want to make another trip up there though for potentially nothing. Would like to have maybe at least a medallion and a sword to at least try to enter Turtle Rock.
Yeah, also convenient that our runners can do the smiths, or at least pick up the smith right now if they want to. We'll probably try and put that off until they get Magic Mirror, but they can start that if necessary, and as stingy as this seed has been, that might be something they have to do.
Yeah, it's only giving them very small amounts of progression here and there. It hasn't really opened up yet.
So Dracarys is opting to head straight down to Village of Outcasts and toward Thieves Town before doing the Skull Woods checks, which, as we saw, there was nothing exciting up there, so this will catch him up a little bit. And yeah, Dracarys is going to take those mitts and immediately check out Hammer Pegs. One of those few checks opened up by the mitts.
This makes sense because if he's thinking doing Thieves Town followed by the Smith Chain, this does become somewhat of an isolated check. He might even take his mitts and the hammer and go do a world tour of the Dark World and go see Catfish before doing the Save and Quit. It's very unlikely, but if you got him, it might. Well, Purple Chest is dead.
It's definitely a good hint to get. Yeah, anything that saves you a 30-second out-of-the-way check, it's a good hint in my book.
Yeah, and you get it here in Thieves Town before you do the Smith Chain. Or before you would reasonably do the Smith Chain, rather. So that just saves you time. So that was actually a good hint in a good place. Oh! But that shovel might be something unique.
Wow, this seed is just it's optimized for annoyance, I think, is where we are right now.
I think it's not so optimized for annoyance so much as optimized for linearity and annoyance. We do at least know that the mushroom leads to a unique item. We don't know what. But given what we've got here, and knowing that the boots can be masked by a unique item text, it could be our boots at the mushroom.
Yeah, that's always a possibility.
And look what Hitsuyan does not have after grabbing that chest from the maiden. No small key. It's locked itself in the big chest. Now, this does mean that this dungeon is hammer locked, because of the simple fact that the key logic at its very core, is basically programmed in such a way that says, "Did you use your keys the worst? Did you use your keys dumb in the most dumb way possible? Well, there you go."
Of course, the Dark World itself was hammer-locked, so not a whole lot of added information there.
Yeah. But in order for the small key to be there,
Right.
it assumes that you need the hammer to get the small key, and then you don't use the key that you normally use for the attic to open that door.
Right.
No one would ever think of to do it, but it accounts for a player using their keys in that really dumb situation. And that applies to all the doors in Hyrule.
Meanwhile, Hitsuyan showing off that red cane blind strats, not the blue cane. Very nicely done. Gets his second dungeon completion and his second crystal.
Yeah. And something else to note, the only item we got out of there was the shovel.
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing in the chests in Thieves Town.
I would wager that after checking the bonk rocks, or the hammer pegs rather, Hitsu will grab the smith, do a save quit to Link's house, take the south road to the Kakariko, and check the shovel while he's on the way. Because either the smiths themselves or the shovel has our next progression, I feel.
Yeah, it's either that or dip into Pod, which our runners are definitely not going to want to do without the bow, since they cannot complete it right now, and they would much rather avoid that double dip if they can.
The third scenario, of course, is they can go up to Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave, but that's quite a long trek for what only is realistically 6 items.
Yeah, we've also got Pyramid and Catfish are possibilities, but again, that's the last option on the list, although it'll probably go hand in hand with the Pod area.
Yeah, if you're gonna go to Palace of Darkness, you at least check the Pyramid on the way. And it looks like it is taking the south road to Kakariko and will be the shovel play for Hitsuyan. If this doesn't work out, he will go to Palace of Darkness most likely.
Yeah, the downside of doing this is that he is going to isolate the Cave 45 check now, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness,
but he
it's a
finds
vanilla flute!
Vanilla flute. Alright, so that's definitely a good play. That opens up a number
Meyer.
of movement options and that Meyer area, so we can see what's in the Meyer shed. He'll probably check out Agino while he's headed down in that direction as well, even though that's we know that's nothing.
So yeah, he's gonna check the desert area. I would say the seed opened up a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. That flute is also required.
Yes, definitely required to get to Meyer, and while it opens up a couple of checks in the Meyer area, it's not actually that much progression unless the Meyer shed has something great for us.
Well, if the Smiths have the mirror here, as someone predicted, let's see if they're
that
right.
would also be convenient.
Nah, blast furnace. Blast furnace today. But yeah, if they find the mirror, they can mirror into desert. Our book could be in GT for all we know. Which would suck. And actually, based on our pendant layouts, pedestal can't have the boots. You can already tell that right now. And I'm not saying that because of desert. I'm saying that because of swamp. Because our flippers are boot locked. Doesn't make sense.
Yes. And also good news is that the boots can't be stuck in GT because of our good friend Ice Palace.
Exactly. So, the boots are somewhere, but they're not there on the desert ledge. And I could not tell what that medallion was. I've always been bad at checking them.
Yeah, I missed that one also.
So more eagle eyes than Shaq would have to fill us in. Someone thinks it was ether. That was what I was leaning towards, actually, but I don't want to give misinformation here.
Yeah, I suspect we'll see it again on Dracarys' side pretty soon as he is activating his flute. And Hitsuyan is going to head back up Death Mountain, check out Super Bunny, etc., and give us a look at the Turtle Rock entrance as well.
Alright, so let's see what we got up here. Librarian race game did not have anything too important, it looks like. And it was Quake on Lake Hylia Island, I remember that distinctly. And it is, in fact, Ether for Mr. Meyer. So, that dungeon's not flipper locked. That we know of. But if it's vanilla medallion requirements and Turtle Rock is Quake, which we're about to find out on Hitsuyan's end here, flipper locked Turtle Rock could be a thing. And that's actually good because any dungeon that is flipper locked is also boots locked.
It's true, and the more flipper locked and boots locked things there are, the faster our runners are going to find boots.
Well, unfortunately, it's Bombos for Turtle Rock. That one was clear as day to me.
Yeah, so that Quake medallion on the island, not very helpful.
No, it's not. Could be useful for, like I said, the Pain Gators and Ice Palace, but that's about it. Blue Mail.
Not bad, but not the progression they were hoping
There's
for.
our
Finally!
first sword.
Oh
no.
Goodness.
There's our
48
first
minutes
sword.
in.
There's our first sword. We can go fight Aga.
Yes, we can. Doesn't get us anything right now, but...
No, it does. It does. It gives us our flippers so we can check the flippers' locations.
Doesn't give us our flippers until we get boots.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. Ah, I'm dumb. But there is another hint tile up there in Aga Tower.
That's true. The information is definitely good to have. I would think we're going to see a pod dip very soon, though. Just because Hitsuyan is sort of checking his last possible location here at Agina's Cave. And Palace of Darkness is certainly the most item-rich location left.
Yeah, if I were the runners right now, I'd do Aga right now. And the reason I would do it is because you need to get it done regardless, or sooner rather than later. And while you may not be able to get the flippers right away, it does put you on the pyramid so you can go over to do Palace of Darkness afterwards. So, really, you're just basically clearing that area in advance.
Yeah, and I take that back. That was not Hitsuyan's last location. He still has Zora to do, so he's going to do the fake flipper route here. Go get his extremely expensive life lesson from the con artist as Dracarys is heading toward Aghanim at this moment.
Yeah. So the only things that Hitsu is going to be checking here is flipper locked checks, which we know are boots locked and flippers locked respectively. So all Hitsuyan is doing is really delaying the inevitable. Because Aga is required. This is all dungeons.
Yes, he's hoping that Zora will have something good for him, but we know that's not going to happen, so he is just stalling just a bit.
He might even be trying to sequence break his next bit of progression on the flippers. But that's a bad idea because he's skipping essentially a boots lock as well. And if you did hobo this entire time, you would have got the money for Zora.
Of course. But the seed only gives you those, you know, after you don't need it anymore. So yeah, the sequence break is a little bit risky from Hitsuyan, just because if you get too far away from the logic, then you never go the places you're supposed to go. But
isn't that the curse of any and all sequence breaks, really, though, if you think about it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But, you know, if he just takes this sequence break and uses the information to narrow down where the boots could be, that would definitely be helpful.
Alright, so we're seeing what the Waterfall Fairy Cave has for us. Piece of heart and a heart container, so... There is nothing that's hard locked by the flippers. This is both good and bad for Hitsuyan. He has the information, but Drac doesn't. But the flippers are still required for the dungeons. Alright, we got a hint coming out here for Drac in the meantime, as he kills these red guards. Unique item in the... That's our gloves. That's our gloves. Which is also redundant, if I recall right, because we needed that in order to get our sword.
Yes, that appears to be the case. So Hitsuyan getting the bad news from Zora, and will now have to probably head up Aga Tower, or maybe toward Pod. We'll see where he goes. But yeah, I do like the Aga play right now, since it does spit you out right there at the pyramid, which is one of these checks that you want to be making right now anyway.
Yeah. Ideally, in the ideal all-dungeon scenario, you want to save Aga for after Aga 2, so that you can get a full heal before Ganon. But because the flippers are blocking Swamp and Ice Palace by logic, and that's locked under Lumberjack, that luxury is not available to our runners. So they do have to do those checks.
Yeah.
And Hitsu's just going to walk to the pyramid instead. He's going to leave Aghanim for a little bit later.
Yeah, we're going to see an almost sync between our runners here, but Drac will have Agadon, of course, whereas Hitsuyan has a couple more overworld checks out of the way. He's done Waterfall Fairy, and has cleared out what he can from Skull Woods, which I believe Dracarys has not.
Yeah. So we got at least one blue ball there from Aga 1. 2. Boots on the pyramid!
What are those?
Which means Drac will have his flippers available to him. Which means a place like Ice Palace is on the table. Well, actually, no. Stand corrected. We don't have a super fire source for dealing with that first Freezor.
And so Hitsu is going to immediately chase down these boots checks. We're going to see King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks right here. And then...
Yeah.
But
these are, and we did have a hint for unique items under boots, but that could be just our flippers.
Yeah, it definitely could be, and I'm not sure this is the right move from Hitsuyan. I think it would have been better for him to go ahead and do Aghanim right now and make these checks on his way to that Lumberjack tree to pick up the flippers. He's going to have to backtrack here later to get those.
There's the boots for Drac. And he'll have access to the flippers. A Master Sword was boots locked. That, however, is not a unique item in terms of hints. If that was a hint check, that would have been said something sharp.
Yeah, so it seems like the flippers are definitely that unique item that are boots locked, so...
Well, we do have the 2 items on the torches in Desert and Ganon's Tower, but the odds of them being the unique item that we're after is fairly low at this point.
So Dracarys also heading up to our good friend the Catfish.
And if for anyone just not tuning in, the reason why the flares are so important is this is, in fact, all dungeons. This is the second game between these two on the playoffs. But it's actually technically game 3. The order's weird today, apparently.
Yeah, since it's a best of 5, we know all 3 games are going to happen, so why bother playing them in the right order? So we see Palace of Darkness is not bow-locked, so we do have a chance of finding some progression here.
Well, it's not bow-locked to start. It could be 2 items here in the arena bridge and the arena basement, and then you're forced to do it.
Right. Although I do believe we have a potion, so Hitsuyan could sequence break that if he so chose.
Small key? Alright, it's not bow-locked in the traditional aspect. But there are 4 keys in the front half of pod. At least. And there's Drac picking up his flippers.
So now I would not be surprised to see Drac chase down some of these flippers checks, since that is a very reasonable and big chunk of progression that you've just gotten. So we could see a Swamp Dip, Ice Palace not really on the table, but he might also go up to Waterfall Cave since he was not able to check that before.
Good hint there. We just got a hint for left side swamp, and it's shield and bombs. 2 items we don't need. So that decentivizes Swamp Palace a little bit, but also makes Swamp Palace faster to clear as a result.
Yeah, and that will be information that Dracarys will not have if he goes into Swamp right now. So that will definitely affect things. Oh, looks like Hitsuyan did not get the potion glitch to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Might have moved too far to the left.
Also to mention something here, Drac. Go into Swamp with what mirror?
Oh, that's a good point. I take it all back.
Pod is the only dungeon he has available right now.
So, yep, Pod is definitely the place to be. Hitsuyan is there first, but of course without AGA 1 done and without the flippers, so...
Yeah, Drac is actually cleaning up the overall checks right now before heading into Pod. But overall, I feel that the time save here is actually in Drac's favor. Because if we get the mirror, that's immediate full clear of Swamp. There's our silver arrows, though. You know what the funny thing is? That chest the silver arrows are in, that's the chest that hosts the single arrow in normal play.
So definitely an upgrade to that arrow in this randomizer.
Pretty much, yeah. There's Bombos. That does let us poke around Turtle Rock a little bit. But that's also Ice Palace entry.
Yeah, so that's 1 chest in Turtle Rock, which is not very appealing. The Ice Palace seems a lot more likely as where that's pointing us to.
Now here's the thing. Hitsuyan will probably just sequence break the flippers and go there again, but we know the flippers are in logic.
Yeah, we'll see if he opts to do AGA 1 right now. He's going to fill up on potions. That suggests he's going to go to Ice Palace.
Yeah. Gold B, though. And yes, I will concede, folks, that Turtle Rock could be dived completely, but it really depends on where that, on the key layout. I have seen a fire rod on Laser Bridge before, or at least I've heard rumors of it existing. Of such a scene happening, rather.
Yeah, you're right, I should clarify. There's a guaranteed one item in Turtle Rock and maybe more, but you're only sure of one of them. And it looks like Hitsuyan is going to fake flipper his way into Ice Palace immediately.
Now, let's hope he doesn't realize this isn't all dungeons. Because I want to clarify something here for anyone who just might be tuning in. The all dungeons was Drac's pick. He decided to make this all dungeons.
Yeah, the way Game C works is the higher seeded team proposes the mode, and then the lower seeded team gets one veto. So I believe Hitsuyan proposed just standard randomized sword defeat Ganon, and Dracarys vetoed that and switched it to all dungeons as the goal instead of defeat Ganon.
And we just got our first hint in Hera of 3, so this is actually a great dungeon for information as well. And it told us that the Super Bomb is actually dead. Nothing there of importance other than maybe a heart container. Big key to start us off in Ice Palace.
And Drac is getting the potion glitch to work, so we'll see what was behind these two chests here. Just a heart piece.
And another key.
Yeah, so Hitsuyan not going to miss those too much.
Now, I wasn't paying too much attention to the key items or the dungeon items in Palace of Darkness. I'm not sure if Helmsword King has one of them or not. Second hint here potentially for it. Heart container on Sahasrahla. So green pin is decentivized.
Dracarys setting up the hammer yump, gets that first try.
Pretty good done. Yeah, that's the harder bomb jump. Hitsuyan's doing the bomb jump, though. The Ice Palace bomb jump, I feel.
Okay, I should correct what I said before. Yeah, the lower seed vetoes first, and then the higher seed chooses what mode they want with that veto in mind. So thank you to the Fear Agent, who knows what he's talking about, for correcting me. So
Yeah.
yes, Dracarys really wanted to do all dungeons, apparently.
And that is working to his favor. Third hint here in Ice Palace. Unique item in plain sight. That could be leading us to... That's our boots hint. I'm going to say that's our boots hint.
Seems like it, yeah. Since there is a guaranteed boots hint somewhere, that's the only one we've seen so far that could apply to the boots. I mean, it could be things like the Quake on Floating Island, but the fact that there has to be a boots hint around,
and the fact that the
probably
boots hint
means
can be
it's that
masked
one.
as a unique item.
Yes.
That's actually something interesting to note is, even though the boots are a guaranteed hint, one of the items that I would like to be a guaranteed hint is the Ice Rod, and that's not a guaranteed hint. And that's our Tempered Sword right there.
Yep, so our runners have a fair bit of firepower. Tempered sword, silver arrows, no bow to shoot the arrows, but we'll solve that problem later. Yeah, that's definitely something interesting, because the hints in Key Sanity, for example, right now there's a guaranteed Ganon's Tower Big Key hint, just to prevent those GT Big Key hunts that everyone hates so much. But Ice Rod hunts still totally on the table, apparently.
Yeah. And I think, if I recall right, that's the main reason people wanted the hint system, was because they were tired of hunting the Ice Rod. Maybe in version 31 they'll fix that. Maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting balance question. I don't think it's clear-cut which way that should go, so we'll see what changes they decide to make in the future.
Hitsuyan gonna bomb jump here. Go to Ice Tea Room. Now, Drac is also an Ice Palace, clearing things up. He knows he's in logic here as well. Now, what does Tempered Sword give us? We found Tempered Sword. We found one other item that was not too important. The Ether Medallion. It just keeps going. It just keeps giving us one bundled location to go to. Now it's Misery Mire.
Which we can get into with the hookshot. We can full clear with the red cane. So, I guess that's next on the list.
And if Hitsuyan doesn't kill Vitreous, that is incredibly telling that he's forgotten that this is all dungeons. The Ice Rod's also here.
Speaking of the Ice Rod.
So that Ice Rod is 100% required, as we know.
So Hitsu just stealing that big key there so he can get through this door and head down to the basement with the red cane. Has no problem getting into the cold stare fight.
So now asking, what if the GT Biggie hints for knocking Sandy but only sees GT? That would be nice if it wasn't for the fact that Ganon's Tower does not have a hint tile. I actually have a list of all the locations here, and I use them to make notes.
But there could be a hint somewhere that says the Ganon's Tower Big Key is in Ganon's Tower, which, you know, then at least you know you're no worse off than usual.
Yeah. So, pretty much, it's not an ideal situation for Ganon's Tower, which is why it's a key standing only hint.
So one of the things the Tempered Sword gives us is faster boss fights, which we definitely saw there with Cold Stare. Goes much easier with that extra little bit of firepower coming out of your sword. And Hitsuyan finishes off the third crystal.
I'm not sure if Cold Stare dropped the key there or not, but it doesn't really matter. We had the key to Samari relatively early.
Yes, there was a key there on Cold Stare.
So this dungeon was technically Samaria locked, but like I said, the merchant sold it. We already had it.
And pretty much only one place to go. Hitsuyan flutes directly back to Misery Mire.
Makes perfect sense. Now the question is, does he fight Vitreous? If he doesn't fight Vitreous, then Hitsuyan's in trouble. Because he has forgotten the goal. Although, he might also be avoiding fighting Vitreous until later when he has the bow, which is more ideal.
Yeah, but it's not faster enough to warrant 2 dips into Misery Mire.
And yes, for those who are just not tuning in, Hitsuyan has not done Aga 1. He knows that the flippers are flipper locked, but this is all dungeons. He needs the flippers for Swamp Palace. He is currently in logic besides the flippers, though. But once the mirror is found, he needs to go fight Aga.
Yeah.
So it's a question of whether or not he's forgotten the goal, or he's just saving Aga for whatever time he needs to go fight Argus.
Yeah, it's definitely a curious choice though, because he knows that he won't be able to do the, god routing of Aga 1 directly into the Ganon fight. So there's not a whole lot of gain in putting it off as long as he has at this point.
Alright, we don't have a hint that says what the Firelock side of Mr. Mario is, but given that the small key, big key is vanilla. Because that's the only way the key logic here works. So we will be coming out here, pushing all these blocks. You can push them all out of the way. And we should be seeing the hint here in Mr. Mario as well.
Yeah, chat asking who's in the lead. A little tough to say. Dracarys has the advantage of having done AGA 1 already, but as we see, Hitsuyan is further ahead in the chain of logic that the seed wants you to follow as a result of skipping over those that AGA 1 fight. So we'll see how that works out for him overall. Another hint that a unique item is in plain sight. Well, we already had that one, thank you.
That was most likely a duplicate hint. Alright, so Hitsuyan is going to full clear the dungeon at least.
That hint was so unhelpful that the seed decided to give it to us twice. Like, does it help now? Does it help now?
I mean, if we're considering that mirror is in Ganon's tower, Drag overall has the more cleaner routing, I feel, because he does, after doing AGA 1, he can just flute to 7 and go straight into Swamp House, whereas Hitsuyan needs to do a save and quit, get the flippers, and then go to Swamp. Alright, there's some bombs. And there's our mushroom.
Oh my gosh, the chain of fetch quests continues.
Well, here's the thing. Remember our hint way back on Symmetrical Rock?
Oh yeah.
Kind of behind that mushroom.
Absolutely.
We know this.
So then I think that's probably going to be where our progression comes from out of this dungeon. Not directly, but from that mushroom. At least we have the flute now, so it's easy to check.
Yeah. And if it's the mirror, Hitsuyan's going to be in a little bit of trouble because he's going to lose a lot of time. Because they'll have to go to AGA and then go get his slippers, whereas as soon as Drac picks up that mirror, he's going to go straight to Swamp and full clear it. And he also has the information that Let's Say Swamp is dead. There's 2 items there, but they're not required items by any stretch of the word.
The thing is, that time that Hitsuyan is eventually going to have to spend on Aghanim is sort of a sunk cost anyway. He's going to have to do it at one point or another. The only time he's really lost is, I feel like, the time he spent going up close to the lumberjack tree and not picking up his flippers because he didn't have AGA 1 yet.
Yeah. But if you consider the fact that AGA is still a 3-minute climb, give or take, Drac is actually a little bit ahead. He's only about 2 minutes behind.
Yeah, I agree. Drac has a little bit of a lead, just factoring in the fact that he's already done those 3 minutes of AGA 1 that Hitsuyan hasn't. But I'm saying he has that lead regardless of where the mirror is.
Yeah. But the lead will most assuredly widen once the flippers are found.
So Hitsuyan finishes off Vitreous, that's the name, at 1:14:40. So we will see just exactly what that lead is for Dracarys, well, or for Hitsuyan, depending on how you read it. We'll see how far apart our runners are, I'll say it that way.
Yeah. So we don't have the desert hint, we don't have the dark ice rod boulder hint, and we don't have the turtle rock hint. That's the only 3 we're missing. But we have seen 2 of our 2 junk hints already.
So we are going to get this mushroom check right away. There are lots of things that it could be. Could be fire rod, could be bow, could be mirror that would all open some things up for us.
I think the one thing Hitsuyan does not want to see is the mirror.
Yeah, he is betting on that being much later in the progression chain,
And it's
it
the
is
fire
fire
rod.
rod.
Okay, that actually opens up a couple of dungeons, actually. That opens up Skullwoods and Turtle Rock.
Yep, so given that we have Ice Rod, Turtle Rock is now full clearable. Hitsuyan seems to be headed towards Skull Woods first. Can't really argue with that. And so yeah, Skull Woods is our second 5-6 crystal, but there's nothing good behind the Pyramid Fairy, so this will be just clearing the dungeon for its own sake, and any items that we might find in the back. I think we have an item left here in Skull Woods, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't even remember the first time we found here in Skullwoods is.
I think there was a heart piece or something something boring.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Dark Ice Rod Boulder hint is not one you check normally. It is one I would check in inverted, but that's about it. Because it's just a quick mirror away. It's still quite the walk in non-inverted seeds. Alright. Vitreous fight on Drac. Hitsuyan fighting the Moth. Moth down. Now for Hitsuyan. 20 rupees found on the Moth. Drac gets his eyeball killed at 118, so he's about 4 minutes behind, give or take.
Yeah, I think the 114.40 was at the last sword hit, so it's a little bit less than that, 3 minutes and change for Dracarys. So if Hitsuyan can do the Aga 1 tower in that time, then we are pretty much at a dead heat.
And actually, he will do it faster. I just realized Hitsuyan will do the tower faster.
Yeah, he will have a better sword than Dracarys did when he went through it. Plus the boots and the hookshot, and those both give you some movement advantages that will shave off a few seconds here and there.
So, even though Drac did the tower first, and that was the logical play, it's also... Hitsuyan will have just a faster tower climb. It probably will be into those 3 minutes, so this race is actually fairly close.
And we do have to factor in that Hitsuyan will have to go 15-20 seconds out of his way to go pick up flippers at some point, so we got to factor that into the Aga 1 tower time, essentially. But yeah, this is still a super close race.
Alright. So the one thing Hitsuyan doesn't want to see here, I think, is mirror. Because the mirror is found, that could mean Bo is in swamp, and Draco could be able to go immediately there. Desert is somewhat isolated as well at this point. Hint for desert in Turtle Rock. I believe that is a duplicate hint for one of our Jokins in Hera. So no information there. Hitsuyan needs the flippers because this is all dungeons and swamp needs to be cleared. That is the only reason he needs the flippers at this point.
So we see our runners actually would have been able to make a little bit of progress, at least in Turtle Rock, even without the fire rod. Since that first chest had a key for us, as Dracarys drops into the Moth-Yellow fight. With Tempered Sword, yeah, makes quick work of that.
Big key and the compass, so it was a fire. You wouldn't be able to get all the way down to Turtle Laser Bridge at least, which is a kind of a blessing in and of itself.
Yeah, not too surprising considering what a big risk it is to come all the way up to Turtle Rock with no fire rod, that it would not have been the best play. Oh, so this is something else we need to keep in mind. Dracarys has not cleared out the front of Skull Woods, so he's going to take a little bit of extra time checking that chest to find a map that Hitsuyan already knew was junk there.
I think Drek did do it, but he's just making sure. He probably forgot.
Ah, okay. Did he do front of Skull Woods while I was watching Hitsuyan in Turtle Rock? That would make sense.
He probably did front of Skull Woods when he was in the area for the first time.
Yeah, either way, I just missed it, so my bad there. But, yep. Is quickly following Hitsuyan up to Turtle Rock, since that's the other big piece that is now open to us with Fire Rod.
That is a good question regarding League. Where's Team Missing Bow when you need them?
I
This
think
feels
they're
like one of
busy-
their seats.
I was going to say, I think they're busy hiding the bow from these two runners.
I would have put it fast though, to be perfectly honest. Alright, 123, Drac is entering Turtle Rock. Hitsuyan is about halfway through at this point. Hokoboku's double spin. Oh, misses the second spin on the second one. Has to chase it down. And looking at pedestal here, it cannot be the book, it cannot be the mirror. But it could very well be our bow.
Yeah, that is definitely a possibility.
And if it
There's
is
also-
the bow, Drac has a small advantage there, I feel, because he'll have the ability to clear swamp almost immediately after finding the mirror wherever that shows up.
There's also always the possibility of bow here in Mimic Cave, which would a classic troll location that would force our runners to come back here once they have the mirror.
There's the bow, though.
There it is.
Why does... I don't know what version 30's problem is, but it seems to love putting the bow here in Turtle Rock.
I think the problem is that it hates our runners. I think that's the issue.
Well, it hates everyone then. Because it doesn't know any better. Alright, Laser Bridge. Been in logic since the beginning of the game. Bottle number 3, blue potion freebie. The small key. The map. Also, Pet is dead, by the way, folks. So much I hate to say it. And bombs. Oh! There is no mirror in sight. Hitsuyan may have made the right call here regarding the seed logic. It's still too soon to tell, though.
Yeah, the thing that'll make his routing very efficient is if we do find that mirror later on, and he finishes Swamp at the last minute before heading into the Ganon fight, is you can always save and quit in the Dark World after doing Swamp, and then it'll just spit you out right on top of the pyramid as long as you have the mirror and Aga 1 defeated. So that aspect of the routing will be very nice for him.
Will it, though? I would assume that once you get the flippers, you just flip to 7.
Well, no, I mean, after you finish Swamp, then you come out of Swamp Palace, save and quit, and you're on top of the pyramid.
Ah, okay, yeah, that would make sense.
So in the same way that you do Aga 1 directly into Ganon, he can just do Argus directly into Ganon.
That's actually smart. Makes sense to me. Alright, Trinix has fallen. Actually, I just realized something. We have a bow. Look at our tracker, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, Hitsuyan is not in a go mode in sense of the logic because of our goal, but he does have access to Ganon's tower.
That is true. Ganon's tower is definitely possible. We don't have access to Desert Palace yet, though, weirdly.
So, our required entrance to Desert Palace is most likely the mirror.
Yeah, should we call this GT mode?
I was thinking that, yeah. Makes sense to me.
So now finally our runners sort of have a choice to make of do they want to head directly to GT and hope that the required items are in there, or clean up the last couple of overworld or other checks that they have left to do. That might not be much of a choice if they don't find that mirror, though, just because there is not a whole lot left outside of mirror checks.
Yeah. And I like what Hitsuyan is doing here. He's starting by clearing the usual pod Eastern play with Eastern first, and this is just a cleaner in general because he doesn't have to save and quit and walk back over here to do Eastern. He'll just go back south and then warp to Dark World and then do pod. So he's doing essentially pod Eastern in reverse. But it's because it's a necessity, no mirror.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, actually, is there any place left that the mirror could be outside of GT? We know it can't be in Swamp. It could be in Desert if we find the book somewhere. But I'm not sure there's anything else that our runners haven't checked yet.
No. I can't think of anything else per se. And yes, Back Escape is done. This was a standard randomized sword C to start things off.
Oh yeah, there is still Magic Bat that we haven't checked, so if we find the powder somewhere, that's an option.
Could have actually checked Magic Bat before or getting the mushroom turn in, but it made more sense to check the mushroom first because it is a unique item.
Yeah, our runners knew it was a unique item, and they were pretty close to go mode at that point, so they were probably not so excited about sequence breaking with the fake powder.
And Argus... I almost said Argus. Armos Knights Falls. Only 20 rubies on them. Clean Trinix 2 from Dracarys. Not letting him touch that corner.
So, yep, Dracarys will also take his shiny new bow and flute to 5, I would think.
And both runners cannot do fake powder anymore. They both turned in their mushroom, which was the fire rod. It's way too late now. To go back and fake powder now, just to save yourself some time, is actually just going to lose you easily 15-20 minutes.
I mean, fake powder isn't even possible since the mushroom is gone from the inventory. It's just not even an option.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, just going back to that point in your saves. I don't even. But they've been
Oh,
saving
yeah.
quitting. There's no point. There's no way they can do it.
Yeah, absolutely not. Hitsuyan, this is a minor slowdown. Did not get to check these chests on the right side before. Had some issues with the potion glitch, but this won't cost too much time since it'll spit you right out at the door toward Helmasaur anyway.
Indeed. And he needs the small key from this side anyway in order to go back to over to Dark Turtles and Helmasaur King himself anyway.
Yeah, so he is going to have to make these checks, but not too far out of the way. But yeah, I feel like both of our runners have been reading that this seed is pretty linear, and knowing it's going to be a pure execution race, so saving those few seconds of not doing the fake powder, I think is an advantage they were both looking to get over their opponent, and gambling on whether the fake powder would actually have anything or not. Because at this point in the race, you just bet that anything that you need but don't have already is going to be in Ganon's tower.
And to answer a question in chat, we are not in a go mode in terms of the goal, but we are in a go mode in terms of accessing Ganon's tower. We still need the mirror to deal with Swamp Palace and Desert Palace because this is an all dungeon seed. And in that regards, we are going to be... It's almost time to play that game we love so much, isn't it?
We're getting real close.
And knowing the seed, our progression is in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, if we don't find progression on King Helmasaur right now, it's all in GT. Dracarys finishing off his 6th crystal, I believe, with those Armos Knights falling very quickly to silver arrows, as Hitsuyan heads into the fight with King Helmasaur.
And while this fight is going, folks, we're going to go ahead and get that game started. So would you do that while I go ahead and explain it? So, folks, we have 22 chests in Ganon's tower, one of which has the big key we need to go up to fight Aga 2, but not to finish the seed yet. Give us a number in chat to where you think the big key will be, and if you are suffer supporter, you can be put on the leaderboard. So we'll make this a little fun for those who cannot be caught on the leaderboards. I'm going to add a little bit of an extra goal to this one. Give us another number in chat and tell us which chest you think the mirror or book is in that we need for Swamp Palace.
And please, whatever you do, don't let the Fear Agent win. He's already ahead on the leaderboard. He's running this tournament. The big key guessing game is almost certainly rigged. That's not true at all. But we can't let the Fear Agent win.
So yeah, for the mirror and the book, respectively, your numbers are 1 to 27. Because they can be literally in any chest in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, we talked about mirror being in GT. There is always the chance that you're going to find magic powder,
or the book.
which is going to mirror, or the book, which could lead to it on either of the tablets as well. Actually, no, I take that back. Could not be on Bombos. Mirror cannot be on Bombos.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Could be on Ether, though.
Which would be remarkably hard to get to from Ganon's tower without already having the mirror.
Alright, last chance to get your guesses in, folks. We're going to close the game when we see Hitsuyan enter Ganon's tower.
So Hitsuyan triggering the Ganon's Tower crystal cutscene at 1:34:57. We will see how quickly Dracarys gets up there behind him. Again, if you have just come in, Dracarys does have Aga 1 done when Hitsuyan does not, which Hitsuyan will have to go back to at some point to finish this all-dungeon seed.
Alright, Guesses have been locked in. Let's see where this big key shows up, and maybe also the mirror. Starting with the Hope Room. First chest, small key. Second chest, 20 rupees. Hitsuyan is going to the right. I guess we should play the game now. Pablo, where do you think it's gonna be?
I always like the double firebar room, the vanilla map chest.
I can see that. Let's put the big key on the torch and the mirror in the pre-Moldarm 2 chest.
I'll put the powder on the vanilla big key chest, and I want the mirror to be and book to be outside of GT behind the powder. That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay. Third chest, 5 rupees. Fourth chest, 3 bombs. He's starting the fifth chest. 10 arrows in the sixth. We'll see if Hitsuyan goes full right. Dracarys on his way to Ganon's Tower himself. We're going to be following Hitsuyan's count throughout this, though.
And Hitsu deciding to go ahead to Ice Armos from here, again without the mirror and a quick way out. Sort of makes sense, because then that'll spit you out back at the torch, and you can hit the left side from there.
This makes perfect sense to me. So it'll be 7. So it'll be 7 at Bob's chest, 8, 9, 10 at Ice Armos. 11 will not be the big key chest. That'll be the torch. Because we're still gonna go by big key first. So in a worst case scenario, big key chest is 23 for the mirror guess part, the progression part of the guessing game. And there's Bob. Number 7 had the map. 8, 9, 10 are locked behind the Ice Armos fight.
Dracarys, meanwhile, opened up the GT at about 1:37:35 or so is about 3 minutes behind. Feels like he's made up a little bit of time with the execution of this last segment.
8, 20 rupees. 9, the red mail. 10 arrows, so Ice Armos did not need to die today. But I do admire the efficiency that Hitsuyan's putting up. That cracked wall there, by the way, for anyone wondering, does have fairies in it.
Yes, those of us who are scrubs at this game know where all the fairies in dungeons are, so I've visited that one before.
The torch is number I think the torch is number 11 for us. That was just some bombs. We need to pick it up. Bob gets to live today.
Oh, and Dracarys is going full left, or going to the left side first at least.
12, 20 rupees. Read the small key. 14 is the big key. And 15 is the mirror!
Oh, this is huge for Dracarys.
That saves so much time for Dracarys.
Right side. Huge
and DJ Mousefan, the closest with 15, and that counts as the mirror guess too, so I think that's a double win for him.
Nicely done, nicely done. Yeah, this is a huge swing for Dracarys that he is now neck and neck with Hitsuyan as far as progression up Ganon's Tower, but with that all-important Aga 1 already done.
Yeah. So the lead has shrunk from a 2-minute gap all the way down to about 10 seconds. And it's all thanks to a left versus right here in Ganon's Tower. I'm going to time staircases as I see them. Hitsuyan entering the staircase at 139.40. 139.50. Dracarys is actually taking a quick break to get a shortcut here. Or getting some health. So he's losing a little bit of time, but it's still somewhere along the lines of 1:40:10. So it's a 20-second difference. And those seconds are going to be made up in spades here by Hitsuyan. but he still has a 2-minute climb up Aga Tower.
Yeah, so the
Dracarys
difference
is most
is...
assuredly in the lead here.
Oh yeah, this is a huge lead for Dracarys now. As long as he can execute well through Swamp Palace and Desert, which are not generally the most difficult of dungeons, he is in great position to take this race and put the last locationers up 2-0 in this first playoff series.
140-47. Hitsuyan climbs up to the 5th floor.
Dracarys sniping that Stalfos with an arrow in the last room of the gauntlet.
Using a bonk to buffer. $141.14. Dracarys goes up the tower. It is still about a 20-second difference. Going through the final torch puzzle. Hitsuyan across the door, 141.48. And 142.03. It's a 15-second difference now. Drac is making up some time. Molder 2 falls. Drac fighting Molder 2 now himself. Molder chest is ignored.
Yeah, runners in full go mode. They're not touching anything that they don't have to. Just trying to burn through to the end of this race as quickly as possible.
That was a heart piece, actually. That could have given Hitsuyan a little extra health. He's kind of low heading into the Aga 2 fight.
Yeah, not as much of a concern since he won't be heading straight into Ganon afterwards. He will be heading to probably Desert and then Swamp.
Yeah, but some unlucky shots here like that could do a lot of damage. It could add up, but this should be a 3 cycle. No, 4 cycle. Alright, that looks like a 1-2-1-2. And with Agachu down, the Ganon has been opened, but he is not vulnerable, folks. This is in all dungeons, to remind you all. All the pendant dungeons and Aga 1 must fall for Hitsuyan. The pyramid opens at 143.40 for Hitsuyan, 1337. And for Dracarys, the pyramid opens at 143.53.
So 15 seconds minus whatever Hitsuyan spends in Aga 1 Tower is a pretty commanding lead for Dracarys at this point.
Indeed. And Dracarys is going to start by heading to Desert Palace. This is where doing Aga early paid out for Drac.
Yeah, he had that time banked all along, so all that time that Hitsuyan looked in the lead, it was actually a super close race, and then the GT routing, the God routing from Dracarys definitely propelled him into the lead.
Not even going to read the hint here in Desert. This was the second to last hit we did not read. The other hit we didn't read was at the Dark Ice Rod boulder. Ten bombs, so this was a boost lock dungeon. And the fourth and final bottle found for Drac, and it's a fairy. That is like the best item for Drac to find.
Yeah, that's
now
about.
He's gonna feel super safe going into the Ganon fight.
Yeah, it's about the only safety he could still be looking for. So having that in your back pocket, I'm pretty sure he's still got potions left from the ones that he bought before heading into Ice Palace too. So no worries about the Ganon fight at this point, as long as he can execute.
Indeed. They all both have tempered swords, so they have the biggest time save they can have in terms of sword combat already between levels. Gold sword would make it to be 6 slashes instead of 6 spins, but at least it's not doing 12 spins that are forced. And yeah, there's another minor difference here. The red armor was behind the ice armor most, and that's where Hitsuyan lost most of his time, actually. He's doing right side of GT. Drac went full left. And got rewarded with the big key and the mirror right away. Red Pendant Collecting for Dracarys at 147.04. Aga still has yet to fall. So we'll have a rough estimate of how much time he has once we see it.
Yeah, Dracarys is up. You can see it now. The entirety of Desert Palace, including having to check the boots item, the right side, so a big chunk of time in Dracarys' favor.
Yeah.
Oh yes, the flippers too. Thank you for reminding me, chat.
Yeah, this is Drac's race to lose, and he knows that left side swamp is dead. Not that it matters, it's a go mode swamp. Don't need anything there. And as much as people wanted the full clear swamp, Drac does know the left side swamp has 2 items that he does not need. It has a shield and some bombs. So even if we needed to do Swamp House earlier instead of right here at the end of the run, both runners, after doing Swamp Palace, or Ice Palace rather. No, actually, wait. No, it was Dark Palace that had the hint. Both runners after doing Dark Palace know left side swamp is dead. 148.35 for the flipper pickup. But Drac's already in swamp. So, cool, Papa Bell. Remind me again, who amongst these two in their current playoff series is up a point?
The last locationers are actually up 1-0 thanks to Goomba90 in chat, who won his race earlier today against the lane, I believe it was. So last locationers jumping out to a quick 2-0 lead in this first series. They are the lower seeded team, but they are showing up in the playoffs. The race earlier today was very close. For those of you who didn't see it, it came down to a Master Sword Silvers versus Tempered No Silvers Ganon fight. Goomba did have a little bit of a lead going into it, but yeah, it was a really close race earlier today, and this one was also quite interesting to watch.
Alright. 1-5. Hitsuyan's entering the back of desert, but Drac is. Look at Drac. He's on the last 4 rooms of desert, or swamp house rather. This is pretty much over. Short of a catastrophic failure on Dracarys' part.
Yeah, he can smell that Ganon fight. The bacon is already on the stove.
Now I'm hungry for bacon. Thank you. I guess. Alright, Argus falling. This is a whole dungeon lead that Dracarys has. Granted, it's a linear dungeon like Swamp Palace, but it's still a full dungeon lead at this point.
Those are some very synced boss kills.
The magic powder! Well, at least you know where that was.
Oh my goodness. Alright, well, that'll make Dracarys happy to know that he was never supposed to get what was on Magic Bat anyway.
Indeed. And that's actually what the... And Hitsuyan, now with his flippers in tow and the desert cleared, is about to go fight Swamp House, but it's too late. Also, Ganon read the wrong script.
I hate it when that happens.
That's Zelda 2, not Zelda 3.
Dracarys opting for Cape Strats in Phase 2 here. Again, has those blue potions handy, so can just use his magic pretty freely here in the second phase.
Alright. Third phase has begun.
As Dracarys is getting through that third phase, did you find the arrows in Dark Palace? Why, yes, we did.
They were in
And the first arrow is in.
Getting more subs in chat, and actually, sub goes to my co-com apparently. As get your GGs in chat for Dracarys.
Absolutely.
Locking this game up nicely.
Well done. He's just got that pesky 3-tile bridge to traverse, and he gets across it into the Triforce room. And we'll put the last location as up 2-0 in the series. GG.
And to solidify it, folks, let me announce it here. Ladies and gentlemen, Dracarys is finished in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 23 seconds. Get your GGs in chat. Let them fly. Also, don't think I didn't see that sub there as well, Mousebud. Thank you as well for giving me a sub.
Yes, we appreciate that. Thank you, DJ Mouseman, for that chain of gift subs. Very generous of you. We appreciate the support here of Speed Gaming. This is a good time to suggest that you give a follow to both of these runners. They're putting out great content like these races and other speed running all the time, and I'm sure they would appreciate your support and your love, as we do here on Speed Gaming. Thank you very much.
I've never seen that Star Hospital test before. Shabbiness is upcoming. And yeah, we're getting shoutouts. We've had a distraction this whole time. Thank you to Kono Charian for keeping those items up to date for you, us behind the scenes here. He was our tracker this evening. Life lessons for sale. Yeah, that should be changed to something a little bit more worse than a life lesson, let's be real.
Yeah, clearly you got in at the very tail end of Zora's pyramid scheme, where he didn't have much to give back to people.
And Hitsuyan now taking the green bauble. And his powder in hand. And given the fact he also has the flippers, he had to have it. It's now time for him to fight the pig.
And Hitsuyan very quickly through phase 2 of the Ganon fight. Down to just 2 hearts, but deciding to keep going without that blue potion.
Oh, Hitsuyan takes the death, but we did have the fairy in as the 4th bottle.
It's definitely a convenient find. Sets up for at least a double here. Yeah, not enough room for a triple, but does get the 4th Vampire Skewer into Ganon, and will finish off in 2nd place here. GG to Hitsuyan.
Yes, and we also just saw what the pedestal was. It was 300 rupees. Alright, so we're going to see if either runner here wants an interview now that the race is done. Also, the final time for Hitsuyan1337 was an official SRL time of 1 hour, 58 minutes, 41 seconds. He might have not got done right away. And both runners have actually declined interviews, so that's going to wrap it up for us, actually.
All right, I'll point out then with the time we have left that the next race in the league playoffs is coming up at 8 o'clock over on Speed Gaming 2. That's in the Lake Hylia division between the Titans Myths and the Phendrana Drifters. And Game 3 of this particular match is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, I believe.
We are joined by someone here. GG's.
GG's.
So, it's a different thing on Discord, but who am we talking to?
Hitsu.
It's all right. Well, GG's to you as well.
GG's, guys.
For what it's worth, you actually were playing great. You actually had a fairly close race. It just came down to right side GT versus left side at the end, because you actually had a couple-minute lead going into Ganon's Tower.
Really?
Yes, the other major difference is that Drac actually did do Aga first and then got his boots on the pyramid. So he had the flippers as well. So he was on logic going through all of the rest of the linear sequence, whereas you were not. So he did have a couple minutes stored on you, but at that point it was fairly close considering you had the tempered sword, whereas he just had to climb with fighter sword.
Yeah, okay, but if you have the lead in GT and he has Aga down, it's not really a lead.
Yeah, it was pretty close going into GT. It was hard to say exactly who was ahead. You were definitely no more than a minute apart, but then he went full left right away, which definitely gained a lot of time on you, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's essentially where the time gain came from.
I did so many big mistakes.
If you had gone left side first, it could have been an extremely close race. depending on how the AGA went. But other than that, it was actually pretty linear. Not much you could do to get out of the linearity either. So
Yeah, I had big time losses. I did Hoolihan for no reason, I think. Then I did Eastern Palace early. I did Skullwoods for no reason. Then I fake flippered and failed it, like always.
well, the Houlihan at least, Drac also did Houlihan, and he actually went up to buy the Zor item first.
Yeah, after I saw the flippers, I was gambling because I felt already behind, and then I fake flippered to every location before. Yeah, and I was really sure that the mirrors in GT and that I can route the end like this.
Yeah, thankfully the mirror is right next to the big key. And ironically, in the order of the guessing game, someone got close to the big key guess and ended up also getting the mirror guess correct at the same time.
Nice job.
They had guessed 15 and you got it at 14. But yeah, other than that, the seed was extremely linear. And at the point that you entered Ganon's Tower, it could have gone either way. But the time lost from going right side let Dracarys make it catch up to almost within 20 seconds of you at that point in the race. But he had AGA time buffered in already, so if it wasn't for that, then it would have been 2 minutes, about 2 minutes with the AGA buffer. And this, as a result, I could easily have seen this race being extremely close. But GG's to you all the same. Your team is now down 2-0 in this playoffs. But you still have 3 more games. You could fight back. I have seen reverse sweeps happen in other sort of formats.
Yeah, we have only more games if we don't lose tomorrow, I think. If they have 3-0, it's over. The other games are wasted then or not.
Yes, chat has already been hyping up Illis for his match tomorrow, suggesting that he needs to deliver for the team. So we'll be looking forward to that one.
Indeed. And good luck to you and Team Awesome trying to stay alive here. You already got an uphill battle for sure, but if anyone can pull it off, it's you. It's Illis and the rest of you guys, at least giving you that spark of life. But yeah, GG's Hitsuyan, GG's as well as Dracarys if you're still listening. Make sure to follow both of these runners here. They put on an excellent race for us today. One more quick shout out to our tracker, Kono Tyran, keeping those items up to date for you as well as my co-commentator, Cool Papa Bell. And of course, we're on Speed Gaming. Make sure to get Speed Gaming. Speed Gaming 2 through 6 will follow as well so you don't miss any racing action, not just a Link to the Fast Randomizer. There is a whole slew of content here on the Speed Gaming family of networks. I can't even begin to list it off the top of my head. That's how much there is.
Games I didn't even know existed have randomizers now, so there's always new stuff to discover, and Speed Gaming's a great place to do it.
Indeed. But with that being all said and done, folks, I think it's about to wrap it up. So for all of us here at A Link to the Past Randomizer, I have been Wolfling0370, and we just see you all next time, and thank you for watching. Have a good day, everyone.